Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Jeff. Thank you for checking out my channel, Films at Home. Here on my channel, I do a lot of 4K reviews, Blu-ray reviews, collection update videos, top 10 lists, basically anything and everything to do with movie collecting and collecting physical media. So if you're into that sort of thing, I think you'll really like this channel. Please subscribe. It helps me, it helps everybody see this content. If you're subscribed, you're going to see my videos more often, and I think you'll really like them if you're into that sort of thing. Now, what I'm going to do today, a little bit different from what I've done in the past. This is going to be a sort of unique video. We're going to go over the top 10 Blu-ray movies that you've probably never heard of. So I guarantee that going through this list, since there are 10 movies, there's going to be some that everybody's heard of. So maybe you've heard of 3 of these, but you never heard of 7 of them. Or maybe you've heard of 5, but you haven't heard of the other half. Either way, I'm hoping that by watching this video, you're going to learn something new about the Blu-ray collection that I have. You're going to find a new movie that you've never heard of before that I'm going to recommend, and hopefully you find some, really interesting stuff out of this. If anybody knows all 10 of these movies and knows where to buy the Blu-ray and that the Blu-ray exists, I will be shocked. Personally, these are all pretty obscure, minus a few, but there are various reasons why I've chosen these movies. Some of them, it's not that you won't know the movie, but maybe you don't know that this edition exists. Maybe you don't know that it comes with something extra, stuff like that. So stay tuned here. I'm going to run through these 10 movies. Hopefully you get something new. You can think about what to buy next for your collection, something that not everyone might have. So let's play the intro and get started. Okay, first one here. This was actually a Best Buy exclusive. It's pretty hard to find. You might be able to find some copies on Amazon. You're not going to find them cheap. This one ran me about $15 on eBay, so it's not a crazy out-of-print title, but it is sort of just rare and hard to find. It's actually a horror movie called Escape from Tomorrow. What this is a black and white sort of found footage, I guess you'd call it. It was filmed actually in Disney World without their permission. They had no idea this movie was being filmed. It's completely in black and white. It's really just a strange ride. This is not your typical horror movie. This was something that was done on a shoestring budget with handheld cameras, just sneaking into Disney World basically to film this, which is what makes it really cool. It all takes place within the park. It's really sort of, something that you've probably never seen on film before and you may never see again. Disney was not happy about this movie, especially as you can see in the cover, Mickey Mouse with the bloody hand. Disney likes to sue everybody and anybody who uses Disney stuff, so they got in a little bit of trouble, but the movie was able to be released. Cinedigm put this out. Best Buy had it as an exclusive. I'm honestly not sure where you can get it now. I don't think Best Buy has it. You're going to have to go to eBay or maybe some Amazon third-party sellers, but it's a really cool movie. It's very interesting. A lot of people haven't heard of it. It's experimental. It's not the best thing you're going to ever watch, but it might be the weirdest thing you ever watch. And the Blu-ray, for what it's worth, is actually pretty well done. It has a nice black and white picture. And so I definitely recommend this one as a sort of weird Blu-ray that your friends might not have, but you can put in your collection. I'm going to stick with the horror theme here for the next couple, just because I went to that shelf first in my collection. So I've got some horror movies. But next one up is 1 Hour Photo. I remember getting this from Fox Connect way back in the day. That's Fox's direct sales for Blu-ray and DVD. You can go right to foxconnect.com and buy Blu-rays. A lot of 50% off sales. Got this pretty cheap way after it came out, but it comes with this really cool slipcover, really interesting artwork, different sort of white border around it. It's a really cool slipcover. Like, they did a nice job for a movie that doesn't get a lot of attention. So if you're a slipcover geek and you like stuff that looks good on the shelf, this is a really good movie to pick up. It has excellent artwork and it's definitely different from your typical slipcover or just standard, any movie that just gets the poster with a bunch of people's faces on the front. This has some real nice art behind it and it's not like a special edition. It's just how it comes. The other interesting thing is this is actually starring Robin Williams. So obviously you think of Robin Williams, you think of Patch Adams, you think of Mrs. Doubtfire, you think of sort of funnier movies. Jumanji even is an action movie, but he's still kind of goofy in it. Maybe you think of Good Morning Vietnam or Good Will Hunting. He's had some serious roles. I'm always interested when a comedian goes really dark. Jim Carrey's tried it a couple times, But this one's really cool. Robin Williams, I think, does an excellent job. He was such a talent, and this is just a really cool horror movie. I'm not going to dive too much into the details because you start giving things away, but highly recommend if you can find this, especially with this cool slipcover, picking this one up. It's an unusual Blu-ray. You don't see this in a lot of places, but it's very cool. This one, you may know the movie because it has sort of a cult following now. It's on Netflix at this point. A lot of people have seen it and talked about it in the horror community, but not a lot of people know where to buy the Blu-ray. This is The Void. This is a real throwback to 80s horror, stuff like The Thing, The Fly, really creature horror, some great creature work in this, a really interesting backstory. I really enjoyed it. It's such a throwback. It's not the highest production value thing in the world, but a really, really cool and fun horror movie. It's just so different from what we've been used to getting. A lot of horror nowadays is really good. I really enjoy it, but a lot of it's really psychological. If you think about some of the movies that have come out, there are a lot of, psychological, really messed up movies. They mess with your head, and this was just such a throwback to the old horror movies of the 80s. I loved it. So this Blu-ray I actually bought from the UK. It's region free, so I got it on Amazon UK, had it shipped over here. I like this edition a lot, really cool artwork on the front. But the other places you could have bought this is they did a Kickstarter, and some people who supported the Kickstarter got this movie. And then I believe that Diabolic DVD in the US also has this title now. So you can go check there to buy it. It's going to be a little more expensive. Amazon UK was the cheapest. I like the artwork and everything here better. I like the Amazon UK packaging. It's a little bit thicker, feels a little more substantial than some of the cheaper stuff that gets put out here. And it's region free. So if you're in the UK, you probably have this one. You may know about this release. But the Amazon UK version is cheaper. It ships for free if you have Amazon Prime. It didn't cost me anything to get through customs. It cost me about $10 or $11 total, and it's really well worth having in your collection. It's a really, really good Blu-ray and a really fun movie. So now switching gears a little bit off of the horror genre, I'm going to dive into some documentary films on Blu-ray. I think documentary films are often overlooked. They don't get the same attention that feature films get, stuff that's fictional, superhero movies. The documentaries, they just don't get as much attention. Sometimes they get a little bit of a following when they go on Netflix, but there are some hidden gems out there which actually have some really nice audio and visual qualities to them that people are missing. This first one here was actually an IMAX movie. You might have seen this back when IMAX was first coming out, at a museum or something, like the only places that had IMAX. And if you're a sports fan, you're gonna really like this. This is Michael Jordan to the Max. Now, if you're not a sports fan, you might be tuning out, but let me tell you, this is a quick and cheap demo disc to grab on Blu-ray. It's only 45 minutes long, and it's all about Michael Jordan's last season with the Bulls. He wins his 6th NBA championship, and then he retires before he comes back in a couple of years. But it follows him throughout that whole season, and it's an IMAX movie, so it's really, the visuals are great, the audio is excellent. This doesn't blow you away with like the track or anything, because it doesn't have an Atmos track. It's an older Blu-ray. But if you're a sports fan and you're looking for something really interesting to watch, I think this goes it flies under the radar in terms of sports documentaries and really cool sports movies just in general. And if you like basketball and you like Michael Jordan, this is a must-have. It's a great Blu-ray disc. It's going to look great on your system. It's going to sound great even with the typical surround soundtrack. Highly recommend finding this. It should be pretty cheap considering it's only a 45-minute movie, but it's well worth it if you're into that sort of thing. The next one, changing gears here, this is a war documentary, and this is one that gets a lot of attention on Netflix, and I think it gained sort of a following there. It started on National Geographic, and it is Restrepo. It's basically a documentary that talks about the U.S. soldiers in Afghanistan, something that isn't really explored. People kind of forget that there was this, and still is, this huge war in Afghanistan, and these guys kind of get forgotten sometimes, but with movies like American Sniper and Hurt Locker and Zero Dark 30, Hollywood's been really picking things up in the last few years covering this war, but this is a really interesting documentary with great visuals considering it was shot, on site in Afghanistan. And, there's some stuff in this that's just incredible to watch. It's stuff you'd never see. It's real war footage. You think you watch something like Saving Private Ryan, you say, wow, that's so realistic. This is the real thing. This is about as well done as any documentary that I've ever seen covering a war. They get right in there. There's no boundaries. I mean, they're in with the platoon. It's insane. And basically, like it says in the back here, the only goal of this movie is to make viewers feel as if they have just been through a 90-minute deployment. It's non-stop war. And it doesn't try to make any political statements or anything. It's just 90 minutes into the look, into the eyes of these guys and what they're going through, and girls over there in Afghanistan. And it's so captivating. Highly, highly recommend it. And the Blu-ray is a nice upgrade. Netflix is fine, but you're talking about bitrate, you're talking about upload, speeds of your internet will determine how well that looks on your screen. There's a lot of stuff that goes on with Netflix that can really make for a lesser image. Blu-ray is always the way to go if you're looking for the best image, and this is an excellent movie. Highly recommend the Blu-ray. This last one, up until 4K came out, this was probably, and people can argue this, but this is probably the single best Blu-ray that's ever been put out. It's right up there with Planet Earth, but I honestly think it surpasses it. It is Baraka, and basically it's just, 90 minutes, nature documentary, no words, just pictures, just visuals. And as you can see here, this was shot in 8K Ultra Digital HD. So the Blu-ray is obviously fantastic. This is the highest resolution film, I believe, that's ever been ported to Blu-ray. And so you're coming from an 8K scan. I mean, they shot this thing at 8K, and sure, you're downscaling it to 1080p Blu-ray, but the picture is still incredible. It looks better than Planet Earth. It looks almost better than Planet Earth 4K looked, and Planet Earth 4K is probably the best 4K disc out there right now. This one definitely deserves a 4K remaster. I'm hoping somebody does it, but it does sort of fly under the radar because it's a documentary, because it's a little experimental. It doesn't really have this overarching story. It's just sort of this 90 minutes into the look, into the eye of the earth. We're looking at a bunch of different cultures, animals, locations. It's just a big view into human nature. It's really cool, excellent visuals, really nice audio. And like it says here, first of its kind 8K scan done from the fully restored 70mm film. So, there are some 4K movies coming out like Space Odyssey, 2001 A Space Odyssey, that was, 70mm scanning to 4K. But this was scanned at 8K. This was an 8K scan, never been done before, and it was ported over to the Blu-ray, so you lose a little bit, but it's an excellent picture. And if you can find this thing, it is a reference disc all day, every day. You could almost just put it on in the background and just let it play, and people will be wowed. I highly recommend this one. So that was the documentaries. Now we're gonna switch gears again, and we're just gonna go to sort of action movies, drama movies, just your typical fiction feature films. One of my favorites is what I call the original Hunger Games. This is the Japanese equivalent of the Hunger Games, came out before the Hunger Games. Hunger Games basically just copied what this was, and this is Battle Royale, and this is the Battle Royale collection. Has a very cool slipcase right here, just sort of a plastic, you can hear it. It's not paper, it's not cardboard, it's this sort of thick plastic. And then you have the book with all the movies in here. We got special features loaded, a bunch of different discs. It has the sequels. If you're into Japanese cinema, this is the way to go. It's a 4-disc set, I believe. So it's got 3 Blu-rays and a DVD, bunch of special features. You've got Battle Royale, and then Battle Royale's theatrical cut. So you've got the director's cut and theatrical, and then you've got Battle Royale 2, the sequel, with a bonus DVD full of special features. Really cool packaging. This is another one that I had to find on eBay. It's out of print now, as far as I know. They're not making these anymore. It is a little expensive because it's a big collector's set, but it's well worth it. It's such a controversial movie, and this is the first time it was ever available in North America. And the Blu-ray's great. They did an excellent job. If you're into sort of gory Japanese horror movies, this is your equivalent, but it's more of an action movie than horror, but it has the similar sort of feel. It has that Japanese gore and that style to it. It's really good. If you're looking for an R-rated Hunger Games, this is the one you want to pick up. Find this box set. It's amazing. Try to find it in a little bit better condition than I did. You can see scratches all over mine, but it's out of print, so you get what you can get, but I highly recommend this one as well. The next one here is, this is probably a movie that real film fans have heard of. If you're serious into movies and you see everything and you hear about everything, you've probably heard of this one, but I still think it flies under the radar considering how good it is. It didn't get any Oscar nominations, got no attention there, and it really should have. This is Wind River with Jeremy Renner and Elizabeth Olsen. Excellent movie about sort of these missing Native American women is sort of the overarching theme. There's one girl in this who goes missing. Jeremy Renner is a tracker who's trying to help find her with Elizabeth Olsen, who's the FBI agent. There's a really, a lot of interesting stuff in here about the Native American culture. There's some great action sequences. There are some amazing twists, some stuff you never saw coming. And it's just a really dark, gloomy, it's not a happy movie, but it's incredibly well done. Elizabeth Olsen is awesome in this, as is Jeremy Renner. They didn't get enough attention. And this was actually done by the same guy who did Hell or High Water. So if you liked that style and you liked his movie, you're gonna really like Wind River. It's sort of a different take on the Western than Hell or High Water, but still such a good movie. This guy is making excellent stuff, Taylor Sheridan. Highly recommend this one. Blu-ray's awesome. Gotta have this in your collection. If you haven't seen it yet, go grab it today. Now I'm hoping that nobody's heard of this one because this is always my hidden gem. I first saw this movie at a film festival in Boston. They were just premiering it on the East Coast, and it got picked up by Magnolia Pictures. Hadn't heard about it forever, didn't know if it got a Blu-ray, couldn't find it anywhere. Ended up finding this at the dollar store for $1 and grabbed it because I love this movie. It is a Hijacking. This is a Swedish film, so you've got subtitles. If I remember correctly, I haven't seen this in a couple of years now, but I believe there's a little bit of English mixed in, but a lot of Swedish subtitles. And basically, in my opinion, it's an improved version of Captain Phillips. So it doesn't follow the same exact story as Captain Phillips. Obviously, Captain Phillips, based on a true story, Tom Hanks is playing a character, but this movie is all about Somalian pirates hijacking a boat, kind of what goes on behind the scenes. It also explores, the company that owns the boat, that these people are employees of, trying to negotiate with these pirates. There's a lot of really nice action, a really dark and gloomy movie again. It's not happy. There's a lot that goes on here that's very serious, but it's so well done. Now, there is somebody in this that you'll recognize, even if you haven't seen any Swedish films or know nothing about them. And that's because you are a fan of Game of Thrones. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones and you're caught up in the current season, you'll recognize Pilo Asbak from this. Now, Game of Thrones spoilers coming here. Skip ahead a minute if you don't want to hear about season 8 of Game of Thrones. But the guy who plays the sort of main character in this movie who's on the boat is Theon Greyjoy's uncle who takes over the Iron Islands. I'm blanking on his name, but he plays a big part in the last season. He gets very close to Cersei and the Lannisters. He's in King's Landing. He's sort of trying to vie for the crown there. He's hitting on Cersei all the time. He's in this movie, so you'll recognize him. He's a great actor, actually. He's been in a lot of Swedish stuff. He does a great job in this movie. And if you're looking for a grittier, improved version of Captain Phillips and you don't mind subtitles, this is one of my favorite foreign films. I think you'll really, really like it. And Magnolia did a decent job on the Blu-ray. It's not, reference quality, but it's good enough. And you're not going to find this movie just anywhere. It's going to be hard to find. You can probably find it on Amazon or on eBay, but it's like there's not going to be many copies. It's just not super popular, but it's well worth watching if you can get your hands on it. Now, the last one here, my number 10, is the greatest movie ever made by many standards. And people ask me about this all the time. They see it in the background of pictures I take on Instagram. They see it in the background of videos I've taken, or they see it in my tour video of the room, of the movie room. And that is The Room by Tommy Wiseau. People always say, where do you get the Blu-ray? I can't find the Blu-ray. You might find some copies again on Amazon from third-party sellers. You'll find some on eBay from people trying to, knock it off and get $30 for this. But all you gotta do is go to Tommy's website and buy the movie. It comes with like 6 pairs of underwear branded by Tommy because he's a weird dude, which is actually not too bad. I'm wearing one right now and they're pretty comfortable and they've lasted me a couple of years. So if you're a guy and you're looking for some decent underwear, his stuff's actually not half bad. You get 6 pairs with the movie, I believe. And if you ask him in the comments, he'll sign it. So see here, love Tommy Wiseau, 4/29/2017. He dates it. I mean, this is a legit Blu-ray release though. He's got disc art on this thing, which is horrendous but hilarious. Even the back cover is hilariously bad and sort of like what is this? What is this dome? Like this Russian or sorry, Roman like architecture here. Like that's not in the movie. There's just, you know, it says, "Are you ready to see the reflection of your life? Enter the room and leave forever changed." I mean, it's insane, just like the movie, and it's a perfect Blu-ray release. And people always say, where do you get it? You got to go to Tommy's website. That's the only place to get a legit copy. With the Disaster Artist coming out recently, I'm sure that a lot of knockoffs are out there. You don't want those. Go to Tommy's website, support him, and support this crazy dream that he had in this crazy movie. See if you can get it signed by him. Worst case, he'll definitely send you like an 8x10 that you can frame, that he'll sign. He signs pretty much anything. If you give him the $20, $25, he just throws a bunch of underwear and some autographs at you. Would you expect anything less? No. But this is really a fun Blu-ray to have in your collection. The Blu-ray's not half bad. It's well done. He must have used an outside company to transfer it, because it's not too bad. It's probably not much better than a DVD, but you got to figure what we're working with for source material. Not so great. But it's one you have to have in your collection. If you're a true movie fan, you have to have the greatest movie ever made, the greatest American film of all time, and that is The Room, and that is the greatest actor of all time, Tommy Wiseau. Go grab this. Go to his website, and you get free underwear. Even if you don't like it, like, it's sort of a novelty. Like, you have underwear with Tommy Wiseau's name all over it. If you're a movie fan, that's pretty cool. So, highly recommended. Definitely recommend asking for an autograph. At least getting something back from him is really cool. And this is the all-time, classic cult movie. You have to have it. Go grab it off his website. All right, guys, so that is about it. Those are my top 10 Blu-rays you've probably never heard of. I'd be really interested to see which one of these you guys already knew. I kind of went through my collection. I just hit 2,000 Blu-rays, and so I had to pick 10 out of 2,000 that I thought were a little more obscure, but were also decent movies worth having in the collection, and have a decent Blu-ray transfer. And so I'd be interested to see how many of these you guys didn't know, how many you did know. And definitely I can leave some links down in the description to buy these. It'll be a little bit hard. Some of them are out of print. You're going to have to just go searching for most of these. But I'll leave links where I can, and just kind of happy hunting on finding these. These are some cool movies to find if you can find them in the wild at a store. It'd be really exciting to see what you guys come up with. So I'm really interested to see that. On that same note, if you do come up with one of these or you have them in your collection, I'd love to see them. So take a photo, post it on Instagram and tag me, and I'll leave a link in that description to my Instagram page and my Twitter pages. Tag me there, show me what you've got, send me a message, whatever you guys want to do. I interact with people mostly through Instagram and Twitter, so find me on there. And then just remember to subscribe, keep liking and sharing these videos. I really appreciate it. The channel's been growing pretty fast, and it's been a lot of fun to do these videos, so I hope you guys like them. If you're not enjoying the content, please give me feedback. Give me some videos that you want to see, and I will make them. I'm always looking for ideas, so leave me a comment with video ideas. Leave me a comment, let me know which of these movies you knew about, which you don't know about. I'm really interested to see how I picked, if I picked a good 10 or sort of an okay 10 that you guys already know a lot about. Since you're all movie fans, I'm sure that it's nobody's going to be 0 for 10, hopefully, but maybe, and that would be really cool to introduce you to 10 new movies. So thank you for watching, guys. Sorry this was a little bit longer video, but I had a lot to say about each of these Blu-rays, and I wanted to get it all in. So I appreciate you sticking around to the end. Thank you for watching again, and my name is Jeff from Films at Home, and I am signing off.